Today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. You might have thought the design content for 2022 is done. We've looked at all the liveries, but no, helmets are one of the only ways drivers can really express themselves creatively. You've got to remember, when we see these drivers race, don't see their faces. The helmet is often what makes them stand out most. Some go for big contrast between them and the car. Some like to bring it all together. Today, we're going to look at all 20 of this year's field's standard helmet design and rank them in a tier list. The tier list is linked in the description. Feel free to play along yourself, and let's see how much better mine is than yours, shall we? Who shall we start with? Now look, it can't be a coincidence that Alex Albon's helmet is the first one here. So we're going to start with Alex. He's going straight in Simply Lovely. It's a lovely helmet design by MDM Designs, a template Alex has used for a while now. A lot of Red Bull on the helmet, which people were quite surprised about because obviously he's a Williams Mercedes powered driver now. But Red Bull are clearly still supporting him, which again, shout out Red Bull. Like, I think they get a hard time on Alex Albon's career. They have supported him through thick and thin. I love the contrast between the white and the navy. I love the tie flag details that Alex has had for a long time now. This is a top tier helmet. And I'm pretty sure I'm not being biased here because there's other drivers here that I like, but I really don't like their helmet designs. In terms of the GOAT category, we're saving that to the end because that will be my favorite helmet of them all, but I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of making this up as I go along because I want this to be natural, you know what I mean? Okay, next, let's go with Alex's teammate, shall we? Let's go with Nicholas Latifi. Or disgusting. Does it offend me to look at Nicholas's helmet? That's weird. No, I think disgusting would be a bit harsh, but it is definitely at the very, very best. The Safina all over print on the kind of navy. I mean, it's funny because it is the same color palette as Alex's with the white, with the navy and with the red, but the composition for me this isn't very interesting. It's not simple enough to be elegant, but it's not busy enough to be exciting. You know what I mean? So it just exists. Next, let's go with GUANYU ZHOU with this white and purple lids. You know what? I kind of like this. I've warmed to Lewis's purple designs over the years. This is the only other purple helmet, as far as I can see, on the grid. I believe this is inspired by Kobe Bryant because I know GUANYU ZHOU is a big basketball fan. Zhou's taken a lot of Chinese design elements onto this helmet as well. You got the symbols on the top with the flowers. You got the Shanghai skyline on the back as well. And you've got GUANYU in Chinese on the side. Better than decent, but probably towards the back end of Simply Lovely. By the way, with these tier lists, the further left something is, the higher I'm rating it relative. So I think I prefer ALBON's to Zhou's. And we might as well carry on in teammate fashion. VALTTERI BOTTAS. You know what? In the past, I've loved his helmet designs, but this blue and red number, it's going in disgusting. I never pronounce your T's, and now I think your helmet design is dead. I don't hate you, I just don't like it. It's a huge change up to his designs in the past, and I love those designs, and this just isn't it for me. Quite a lot going on, but I just say it's not really my cup of tea. It's a lot of kind of flowing lines, and maybe front on is kind of the least offensive. You know what? No, I'm going to put this in air for now, and we might move it back to disgusting. We'll play it by ear, VALTTERI. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt just for now, but I don't like it. There's a lot of different things you can achieve with your very own website, right? Say you want to start a blog, say you've got an online store, say you want to upgrade from Behance or Coroflot and have your very own website for your portfolio. Well, back in the day, that would have involved loads of tedious coding, getting someone in who knows really what they're doing. But fortunately, those days are long gone. Squarespace is the perfect all-in-one platform to host your very own website. You can do it all yourself. I've had mine for years, and I promise you, if I can do it, you definitely can. 24-hour customer support, loads of beautiful templates. It's honestly a no-brainer to give it a go. Because the best thing is you can try all the functionality out completely free of charge. There's no obligation. It's only if you want to put that finished website live to the rest of the world that you have to pay anything. And when that time comes, use the discount code TOMMOF1 or give the link in the top line of the description a tap to get 10% off your first website or domain. Big up Squarespace. Now back to the video. Next, let's go with Mick Schumacher, shall we? Because he's changed up his helmet. Well, the composition, not really, but the colours. So he repped the German flag quite heavily last year. The way it kind of starts yellow, then transitions into green, and then has the blue at the back. That's a kind of cool colour palette that we haven't really seen replicated. The closest is probably Lando's, who has that similar kind of neon, but then it's a much kind of darker blue for Lando and not really green as much. He wants to stamp his own authority, he wants his own colour palette. I'm guessing that's why he's gone with this colour combination. And it contrasts with the 1-on-1 blue quite nicely as well, I suppose. The dragon design at the back with the 47 built into it. You can just see he's actually a Chinese dragon that his dad, Michael, used to wear on his helmet back in the day. So it's a nice little ode to his father, you know. Do I prefer it to last year's? No. But I do really like the base design on his helmet. So this is going, for now, in Simply Lovely. And then on to his teammate, Nikita Mazepin, a driver who, well, at the time of recording anyway, it's just been announced that he won't be allowed to race at the British Grand Prix. Who knows? I imagine we'll find out in the coming days. Maybe we'll know by the time this video goes out whether or not he'll be racing this year. Just for his helmet design, actually, I think Nikita's helmets, the base design that he has, the orange, which he's going to be running with, he ran with like a black and white version in testing, but his actual helmet is the orange and black. Honestly, it's really nice. For me, this is ahead of ALBON, actually. I'm going to stick it there. I think Nikita's, it's just super simple. I actually like the white Haas and the white Buzz bits as well. You got that kind of hierarchy of colours. It's the bright, bold orange with the black. No gradients, none of that. It's just simple geometric shapes. And then the white is the kind of third colour there. I think it's a really nice helmet design. I think his helmet designs have always been really nice, to be fair. Okay, let's go now with two helmet designs that are very similar. Okay, let's go to two teammates now who have very, very similar helmet designs. We'll kind of look at them together, which is Pierre Gasly and YUKI TSUNODA. I'm going to stick them both in decent for now. Which one do I prefer? It's funny because I prefer the shape of Pierre's bell helmet, but then YUKI's Arai helmet I think has the nicer design. So I think I've got to put YUKI's ahead, actually. Pierre's is super busy. You've got his logo and the 10 dotted around. It is just a bit too hectic for me to put it any higher than decent, to be honest. Whereas YUKI's is a bit more refined. I like the orange. The pattern isn't really my cup of tea, to be honest. And again, the shape of the helmet I'm not as keen on. But the way it's incorporated the AlphaTauri logos, I think is a bit more elegant than the way Pierre's done it. Yuki's got his number on the top as well with the Japanese flag. I think that's a really, really nice touch. The font of his number 22 and that inclusion, that's lovely. You know what, actually, I think I'm going to move Pierre's down to the top of because the more I look at it, the more I'm just like, Next helmets, let's go with the Aston Martin boys. Let's start with Sir Lance Stroll. His green helmet matches the colour of the car, which I'm super happy about because last year it didn't. But just looking at the helmet design in isolation, I actually preferred last season's. I'm not going to lie. I think I'm still going to put it ahead of YUKI in decent. I preferred the Aston Martin wings on the side last season. I liked the fact that the Canadian maple leaf thing on the top was red. Now it's gone back to silver, so it kind of blends in a bit more. I like the fact that it stood out. But I do think this is one of the smarter lids on the grid. I do like the mixture of metallic and matte finishes, and I like the kind of templated Aramco sponsorship that we'll be seeing on Sebastian's helmet in a second. This is going straight into Simply Lovely. I'm gonna put it ahead of ALBON. I think so, actually. Seb's lid is a perfect example of simplified elegance. I've always really liked his implementation of the German flag over the top. Obviously, last season he had BWT sponsorship on his helmet, which made it look pretty ugly, if you ask me. This is kind of much more of an ode to his basic design, and I love it. I think it looks great. It looks really nice in the kind of matte finish that he's got going on. If this was glossy and shiny, I don't think I'd like it anywhere near as much. Shout out JMD Design who worked on this one, especially at the back as well, the Aramco and the way that kind of comes round, and you've got the kind of 50% opacity white over that. I just think it looks icy. It looks decent. It looks so good. It looks better than decent. It looks simply lovely. Who shall we go with next? Let's go with the Alpine boys. Fernando Alonso, straight away. I think this is my favourite so far, actually. I've always loved Fernando's helmet design. I've always thought it was just a cut above the yellow, the blue, the darker blue, the red, the contrast, the balance of the colours. it's just a lovely thing, and he's kept with it for so long, and it has become, we talked about iconic with Seb's helmet. This is as, if not maybe even more iconic. I guess it depends who you ask ultimately. They've got the kind of 3D shapes on the side, which I'm not kind of, I typically like flatter designs on helmets, but the color palette is what's dragging this to the top of the list as far as I'm concerned, because it is just absolutely timeless. As for his teammate Esteban Ocon, this is going straight into disgusting. I'm sorry, Esteban. I love you, man. You know I love Esteban, but this helmet for me, the design is a dud. Honestly, it just seems disjointed to me. Like the French flag going through the top, through the middle, is kind of cool with the matte finish. He's got his weird EO31 logo, which I've never been a fan of, over the top. And then at the side, you've got this kind of glittery, shiny red, and then again more like 3D shapes of the white that are just, I don't really get it. It just doesn't do anything for me. I don't like the way it looks. His helmet last year was pretty cool, but this year, not so much. Looking at all the helmets now on screen, I think this is definitely my least favourite helmet design of 2022. I've just realised something. George Russell's helmet isn't on this tier list. I'm going to have to add that in at the end. We'll do George last. Right, let's go with the McLaren boys, starting with Lando Norris. I do like his helmet design. Does it blow me away? I've really enjoyed some of Lando's special edition helmets. His base helmet for this year, look, I got the little quadrant helmet from last year. This was really nice. Nice contrast. The black, the neon, the white works well. I'm going to put it in the top of decent, ahead of Stroll, but behind Schumacher. I don't know. I'm looking at it now and I'm just thinking it's very nice, but is it simply lovely? Let's just leave it top of decent for now. Okay, we know we're going to see a lot of variations on this helmet design because Lando loves a bit of graphic design, loves a bit of lid design. I'm liking a lot of these newer helmets this year. For me, this isn't at the level of Fernando's in terms of iconic, at the level of Seb's iconic, maybe in time. And then Daniel Ricciardo with definitely the most out there design. He loves an out there design. And this is a tricky one because the colours are difficult here. Got the pastel orange with the blue and the guacamole. I love the fonts. I mean, this has to be in Simply Lovely. I'm gonna put it ahead of Albon, but behind Seb for now, I think. Do I like it as much as his design last year or the year before that? Probably not quite as much, but this helmet is still sick. Now let's go on to the Ferrari boys. Starting with Carlos Sainz, a helmet that typically I've really liked, but I'm going to put it in decent behind Lando. I've always really liked his use of the Spanish flag, the yellow and the red on the side. And then I really liked it when it was quite kind of blank across the top with the kind of matte grey, but we've kind of lost that now. That's gone to black and you've got the Ferrari logo on there and it's a bit more busy. The side profile looks really good, but you got, again, the big Kaspersky there. You got the Santander, which I've got less of a problem with. The Velas kind of works because it's on red. But yeah, the front angle and the top, I'm just a bit, it's a shame because I used to really, really like his helmet designs, but this for me is still good. It's still, you know, towards the top of decent, but not as much of an absolute corker as it's been in the past. And then on to Charles Leclerc. He's going in Simply Lovely. Very lovely. I'm going to put it there, actually. I'm going to put it ahead of Seb. Historically, I haven't really liked Charles's helmet designs. They were too busy. There was the kind of CL logo going on too much, but this is stripped back. It's got the matte red base with white accents. You got the big black number 16. It's way more my cup of tea. It's a similar kind of design to Mazepin's in terms of just flat colours, no gradient going on. In terms of biggest improvement over last year, I would say Charles's is probably the biggest jump up, I would say. And also, unlike Carlos's, where I think that Ferrari on the kind of front up here on the massive forehead of mine takes away from the design, I think with Charles's, it adds to it and it all comes together. I really like this. This top three is tight here, I tell you. Now on to Red Bull, starting with Sergio Perez. That background, that kind of design on the white behind the Red Bull text is a lot, but I really like the composition of it. I think this is indecent. I think I'm going to put it here behind Lando, but ahead of Carlos. The perspective angle, I think it looks really cool. It is a bit too busy. I wish they didn't have that print on the kind of on the white. That would also help Red Bull legibility, which I'm sure they wouldn't mind from a brand point of view. Maybe keep it on the navy, because I don't mind it so much there. But maybe that's a little bit too much. But all in all, another very solid helmet design. There's very few this year that I don't like, to be honest. And this is good. Max Verstappen, the number 1, the gold and white Red Bull helmet. What are we saying? I do like it. The gold hits do really pop off. I feel like I like it more than Lando's, but less than Mick's. Top of decent, I think. I don't want to put too many in Simply Love It. I think top of decent is a fair place for this to live. Good contrast. The gold at times I think is a little bit fiddly, and some of the shadows I think are a bit too dark. And yeah, I mean, it's a cool shape helmet as well. I really like the way this one looks. 2 more to go, starting with Lewis Hamilton. I have warmed to his helmet design over the years, actually. For me, this is definitely in Simply Lovely, and I would say I prefer it to GUANYU ZHOU's helmet. Do I prefer it to ALBON's? I think it's weaker than Ricardo's. I'm gonna get, but there, ahead of ALBON, but behind Ricardo. I definitely prefer the purple implementation on this compared to GUANYU ZHOU's. This is a mean helmet. This is a means business helmet, okay? 7 stars on the side. Will he make it 8 this year? Maybe. We will see. The Monster Energy. I like the green kind of contrast between that and the purple, the deep purple. It's kind of got a nice matte finish to it as well with little sparkly bits. That's a good balance. If a helmet's too sparkly like Ocon's was, it's a bit, chill out, man, calm down. Whereas where it's more matte and then you got little hits of the sparkly just to kind of set it off. I like that. Now let's get George's helmet added. Where do I think his black helmet, because of course he dropped the red out of respect for Michael Schumacher. The thing is though, I don't like it. It's going in disgusting. It's really not my cup of tea. You know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of, you know, the old black school slip-on shoes that you'd have that would give you like 99 curl if you toe punted it. It's just, there's not enough contrast to the black there for me. It has the blue, but it's not enough. Here, actually, here's a good example. Right, so this is a pair of Reeboks that I've got, right? And they've got a black sole, but these white bits here, I think make the sole look really good. But on the other side, there's no white bits. And look at how like terrible these look from the inside. I hate this angle of this shoe, but I love this angle. There's something about having these white blocks breaking up the solid black that just makes it look good. And this helmet looks like this. So yeah, George's helmet is not my cup of tea in any way, shape or form. Anyway, let's return to the list. Okay, so I actually think Latifi's is worse than Bottas's. I think Mick's can come down here just to balance out this section a bit more. I actually think I prefer TSUNODA's to STROLL's. SAINZ ahead of PEREZ. Okay, yeah, ZHOU behind ALBON. Hamilton ahead of ALBON. This top 3. This is tricky because I've always liked Fernando's helmet design. I love the colour palette. The composition of Mazepin's is probably my favourite though. But then Charles's is a big jump up as well. This is difficult. I've decided my favourite helmet design of 2022 is Charles Leclerc's. He's come through late on with the matte red finish with the white contrast with the black 16 in that beautiful Ferrari car. Red's my favourite colour. This has taken it for me. Mazepin's, I'm actually going to move up to second. I really like the helmet design. Whether we'll see it or not, we've not really had any good pictures either of this helmet. But from what I can see from this little sprite, and considering it's almost identical to his helmet last season, which I really liked as well, I'm giving it to Charles, which I wasn't necessarily expecting going into making this video, but there we go. That's my final tier list. Again, it's linked in the description down below. Let me know on Twitter at TwommoF1 because Twitter, Tommo. Give the video a like, check your subscribes. You might think you subscribed, but you might not be. Make sure. My name's Tommo. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.